This is the Oklahoma Ford Sports Blitz.
Rarely does a day go by when I don't talk about Texas. It's in my blood. Former players, I think, too. Be it recruiting, games, NIL, coaches, whatever. I respect Texas. They're a measuring stick, but I'm too competitive to like them. I've picked a whole lot more winners than losers in a half century of being a part of this majestic rivalry. And after picking Texas to win, I've never, ever been so happy to get this one so wrong.
Oh, Mario Cristobal.
Woo!
The Miami coach's history of salting away games included regularly handing the ball to running backs instead of taking a knee to run out the clock. After last night's fumble in the final seconds in the Georgia Tech Miracle Rally, taking a knee just might be on the play sheet moving forward.
I think he did it to get the guy over 100 yards.
Well, good for him. It didn't work. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Blitz. We start tonight with things that grabbed our attention, or in other words, caught our eye.
Okay, the drive. You remember Elway's? Well, the drive caught my eye. Texas flinched at the game's most critical moment. Secondary busted. Not only did left tackle Walter Rouse manage to somehow contain two steers rushing, but Dylan Gabriel hung tough to the last second. After having multiple throws batted down, he adjusted. Look here, leaping high enough to freely released that leather bullet, turning into a memory for the ages. I didn't notice that at game time.
Yeah, well, here's mine, courtesy of my OSU broadcast partner, Dave Hunziker.
There's a part of me with Will Howard in a hurry-up situation, and all the times we've seen him throw it into coverage this year, there's a chance something weird could happen here. Let's see what happens here. 44 seconds left in the half as Howard gets the ball. Back to pass. Throws near side. It's intercepted. Cameron Epps down the left sideline. 25-20, 15-10-5. Pistols firing. Touchdown, Oklahoma State.
Nostradamus right on the money. Our thanks to OSU Max for the clip.
All right, Oklahoma's extraordinary win soars them 7 spots in the AP rankings into the top 5 at 5 for the first time since September of 22. Texas drops 3 to 9. Georgia very impressive at 1. Michigan bucks 3. Knowles, USC 10. Bama 11. Kansas in there at 23.
We'll take a timeout here. After the break, Dusty Dvorak joins us as we break down what happened in Dallas and in Stillwater.
Down is sponsored by the Oklahoma Lottery.
It's your weekly notification that you can be a part of the Blitz each and every Sunday night. You can reach us by text or connect with us on social media. Hit us on X using the hashtag OKBlitz, or find us on News 9 Sports and News on 6 Sports Facebook pages. To vote on play the percentages later in the show, text Dean or text John to 79640.
It is breakdown time, joined by Dusty. What do you say, pal?
What's up? How we doing?
Not much.
Pretty good weekend for the home guys.
Yeah. Hey, I want to know this. How many OU fans have wondered and struggled for so many years with good conference champs and playoff teams when and if a tough, aggressive, winning defense would ever return to Oklahoma football? Saying something, you know, we'll have to score 100 points to have a chance at a natty. Well, help is here. We got a glimpse of it on Saturday. Now, Dusty has more on this, but got to show you the phenomenal defensive stand that will be forever remembered. Number 2, Billy Bowman reads, breaks, violently stops Xavier Worthy on 4th and go. I've loved Bowman since he got here. You win games with players like this and his pals. Sooners outcoached him early. Second play, offensive coordinator Lebby, aggressive, fast, creative, wildcat, direct snap right here to the athletic receiver Jalil Farouk. He led to a TD. Worked later, too. Love Lebby's tempo and shifts and sets and singling matchup advantages. Here, great pass pro allows Gabriel on time deep to Farouk against an injured young star corner. OU escaped 4 bad early snaps, exchanges, whatever they were, but it took Gabriel's smarts and poise and skill to do it. 3rd and 4, the guy Venables calls the calmest quarterback he's ever seen manages to fire a pass legally out of bounds. Disaster avoided, much harder than it looks, and then running into the kicker penalty kept OU's scoring drive alive. For all of Gabriel's brilliance in outplaying Heisman candidate Ewers, it was his keeping plays alive, smarter than ever running decisions, great on run calls, and the key factor in the game was his breaking containment. demoralized the worn-out big boy Horns, who Levy exhausted earlier with a fast tempo. Levy also brilliantly worked around Texas's advantage on the interior.
We were executing, pitching and catching. Protection was incredible. Really protection all day. Really, really good. So then found a way to make a play there at the end to win it.
I was the one that came open, and I mean, I saw the ball. That's the last thing I remember. And then just seeing the fans looking into their eyes, you know, it was a crazy electric moment. I'm glad that they were, you know, pouring into me.
Report card: offense, A-. O-line indeed held up. Protection, no turnovers, not perfect, but the winning drive means A-. Defense, A- with 3 turnovers. Texas managed to score 30, 23 on the D, but the ferocity and effectiveness of this defense delivered was nonstop. Specials, C-. Even with great cover and return units and execution with snapper and holder good, it's a C-. First 3 punts should have been blocked. Vince Lombardi could not scheme around 26-yard line drive punts, and game on the line missed field goals. Overall, hey, A+, an underdog beating a stout Texas team while clearly being the better team. A+.
A+ is right, Dino. That is a big time win against a good Texas team and a statement to all of college football and really the Big 12 that there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Brent Venables. Let's look at this defense, though. Dean kind of touched on it, but the defense is back in Norman. Boom, big hit from Billy Bowman. He was all over the field playing at a different speed all throughout the course of this game, but this set the tone early as he gives that big shot on Jatavion Sanders, forcing the big interception. And then I thought Ethan Downs, he stepped up and had the best game he's played in a senior. Watch him run through Mr. Sanders, shuck him aside. Look at this adrenaline. Look at him. I thought he might get a personal, he might get a little penalty there. He had to dial it back, but he was so hopped up. He was strong, and he was excellent. How about Terry inside? The Tennessee transfer, I thought he was a dominant force in the middle, tackles for loss, playing on the other side of the football, sacks, pressures. He was excellent for Oklahoma. But that goal line stand you talked about, it will be talked about forever. Kip Lewis knifes in on the first play. Deshaun McCullough stands him up on the second play. It's Danny Stutzman. It's Ethan Downs. It's McCullough from the backside on this upcoming third down. They would not be denied here at the goal line. The dog mentality is back for this Oklahoma defense. They have taken on the identity and the personality of Brent Venables. Statement play right there by Billy Bowman capping it off. That, guys, gave me goosebumps watching it. Kind of like this last play right here from Dylan Gabriel. Jeff Lebby dials it up. You got Gabriel with ice in his veins, and Walter Roush, you touched on it earlier, Dino. Not 1, but 2. They brought 6 in pressure. He had to give Dylan time. He did that. Sometimes you just find a way to get your job done, to help your team win, and what a win it was in Dallas. Huge, huge win for the Brent Venables era and for the Oklahoma Sooners. As this team, they look for real, boys.
Well, the Cowboys handed Kansas State a Friday night nightmare in Stillwater. OSU facing its largest home underdog role in 4 seasons, but coming out very sharp and fast and pulling off the 29-21 upset. And offensively, they gave the Wildcats a lot to think about. 2 completions to the tight end, a reverse, and an attempted flea flicker of the first 4 snaps. Beyond that, Alan Bowman, sharp and clean, some great throws like that one. And Ollie Gordon, another great game on the ground, 136 yards and a score. The only downside, settling for too many field goals in the red zone. The Cowboy defense actually set the tone for this one, though, forcing a 3-and-out on K-State's first series, and they kept Will Howard off balance. The pick 6 by Cameron Epps, maybe the biggest play of the game. Then 2 of your best players helped seal it. Nick Martin with the interception here late, and Colin Oliver would bat down the 4th down pass in the Wildcats' final possession. Special teams had a lot of good and 1 glaring bad. Alex Hale was 5 of 6 on field goals. K-State blocked a 21-yard attempt, but Hale tied a career high with this 53-yarder. And the Cowboys never let dangerous returner Phillip Brooks get loose. Coverage units like right here were just tremendous. Overall, this looked like a completely different OSU team. Bowman's positive leadership on offense is making a difference. The offensive line didn't give up a sack. And on defense, very few busts. Mike Gundy challenged some of his older players to be more vocal during the off week and lead. He's also happier with the run game, but they aren't there yet.
The ability to rush the ball and keep balance in our system allows us to have success. You know, we had to kick 5 field goals. What we have to do is figure out a way to quit kicking field goals.
The report card time. Offense will go B. Ran for almost 4.5 yards a carry, but need to get more in the end zone. Defense, A-. Came up with 3 turnovers, scored once, held K-State to 1 of 4 on 4th down. A critical situation. Special teams is a B+. Again, the only real blemish, the blocked field goal. Overall, it's an A. They were ready to play. They took the fight to the Wildcats and finished, Dusty.
What a difference a week makes, guys. Unbelievable performance, and the blackout, the crowd was there. There was electricity there at T. Boone Pickens Stadium. But I want to go back to that defense. You touched on the turnovers, and of course that's big. But Nicholas Martin, take a bow. 17 tackles, 2.5 for loss. This sack on a key 3rd down early in the ball game. He was all over the place, a tackling machine. And speaking of tackling machines, Trey Rucker coming downhill, getting a big stop there inside the red zone. He was playing at a different speed, always around the ball all night. I thought both those guys were integral. Speaking of pieces that were important, how about the offensive line? You touched on Ollie Gordon. He was great. You could have driven a truck through that hole that he bust that one open for. And when you run the football, what does it do? It sets up play action. It sets up some of the RPO game. Wide open middle of the field. Great to see Jaden Bray getting involved. Perfectly timed right there. And it kind of shows you what this offense is capable of. And let's keep talking about this offensive line. They had struggling protection. How about this time right here for Mr. Bowman? All day to throw it. You got Rashad Owens down the field beating the coverage. Boy, when that offensive line can get the running game going, blocking, protect for Alan Bowman, this offense looks completely different. They were clicking on all cylinders, and all of a sudden just kind of a different feel around this Cowboys team after Friday night.
Yeah, Dalton Cooper moving over to left tackle, playing that whole game there, made a big difference for him. All right, what could have been for TU? The Golden Hurricane on the road at Florida Atlantic. 2 early turnovers put them in a 14-0 hole, and heavy rain late didn't help. A promising first drive was killed with an interception, and TU never led in the game, but they did see the return of Braylon Braxton in his first action since the first quarter of game 1. He completed 3 of 8 passes, broke a 46-yard run. It was messy out there, as you can see. Kevin Wilson said it was more of what the team needed in that moment rather than a reflection of how Cardell Williams played.
Finally got Braylon back a little bit going, Cardell, and we just put Braylon in. I thought we needed to run it with the weather. I just thought Braylon was bigger. Yeah. Versus Cardell wasn't playing. I thought Cardell played solid. He's growing. He's got a lot of learning to do. I think we're going to need them both down the stretch, and we'll just good to get Braylon back.
Report card, offense is a C. The early mistakes, too much to overcome. Braxton's presence late, though, is a plus. Defense, B-. They held up pretty well, gave up the 2nd touchdown after a failed fake punt attempt, and that leaves us to special teams, a C there. Fake punt was costly, ended up putting TU in a 2-touchdown hole. Overall, it's a C. It was a winnable game on the road that could have built even more momentum.
Coming up, the Cowboys go for the 2-game sweep in the Sunflower State. We look ahead to OSU's matchup with number 23, Kansas.
Report Card is sponsored by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
We're back on with our viewer question. The Cotton Bowl down in Dallas, too old. Is it time to move the game to Jerry World? I hear it. And probably one day the game will be moved indoors. Gentlemen, this question's from me. I'm old school. I love the old stadiums. I love the traditions. Let's keep something. Do you think the OU-Texas rivalry should be moved to AT&T Stadium sooner rather than later?
I'm with this guy. Did you watch the game yesterday? That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Steve in UConn, that's an excellent question. I think it's going to eventually move. I know there was a cricket infestation down there too, Dean. I don't know if you were able to be a part of that. Yeah. That's something that's happened in Stillwater for a long time. I think that the atmosphere there is unbelievable, but I think it's going to end up...
Don't touch that game. Leave it where it is. Crickets, no crickets. Leave it alone.
We're going to Paris, and there are bed bugs over there. We'll talk about that later.
Then. All right. Okay. Well, here's what's next for the Cowboys. Another home game, this one against Kansas. The Jayhawks enjoying another great start under head coach Lance Leipold. Saturday in Lawrence, KU ran all over UCF. UCF struggling a bit now. 51-22 was the final. Devin Neal ran for 154 yards. Daniel Highshaw, 134 and 2 scores. Oklahoma native there. Kansas is 5-1. The only loss coming at Texas, 40-14. The Jayhawks without starting quarterback Jalen Daniels for the 2nd straight game. He's been battling a back injury, Dusty.
Listen, it's going to be, you're going to have their hands full. It's a really good Kansas football team coming to Stillwater. Let's get right to the DeVore checklist to see how the Cowboys make it 2 straight. A little rock, the run game, a little rock chalk, because that rushing attack Neil Hightower, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, and they're going to have to really tackle and be sound in that department. And it's all about Ollie, ladies and gentlemen. Ollie Gordon, get him the ball. 22 touches in each of the last 2 games, over 100 yards rushing in each. Keep that thing going. And also, how about creative Casey? That's old Casey Dunn. We had reverses, reverse passes. We had throwback pass to the quarterback all in the first quarter. Keep them guessing. Keep them thinking. You're going to have to score points against this Kansas offense.
All right, prediction time. What do we have? Both OU and TU idle.
Yep, that's right.
I'll predict they'll be idle. So I'm up 2, right? All right, OSU surprised me also, like the OU game, with a terrific bounce-back win against the defending champions. I love Kansas, especially the coach and the quarterback, but I'm not picking against OSU on this one after last week. 38-35 Cowboys.
I like that a lot. Look, I went with 31-27 Kansas only because that offense is so good. Hey, you force a couple of turnovers, you slow down that rushing attack, you'll find a way to get a win. I think it's a winnable game. You got to play good because I think Kansas is actually the better team in that Sunflower State.
It would become a very good win.
Yeah, and
Huge.
Kansas ranked now, though, it'll still have the Cowboys' attention for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a
good game.
Great one.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, Dean caught up.
So we're playing the percentages. Dino, the winner last week. So, Dino, you're up first.
Okay.
First question dealing with that game down at the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma quickly moved the ball down the field to score the go-ahead touchdown. As you watched that game, Dean, what was your confidence level, OU's final possession to win it?
Well, you got to start with the fact that Oklahoma was backed up into the area where the Texas fans were loud, and Texas had the momentum. I would say 40 that they would go down and score a game-winning touchdown, but I did think it would be much higher that they would get into position to at least attempt a game-tying field goal.
I said 55. That's what I felt at the time, just because I knew they're good at running the up-tempo stuff. They'd done it earlier in the game. But I still don't know how Dylan Gabriel saw the receiver in the back of the end zone.
He jumped.
A lot of good quarterbacks this season, and number 8 is one of them for Oklahoma. Percentage chances, Dylan Gabriel ends up being a Heisman finalist. John, quickly.
Really tough to get to New York, but I'll say 30 right now.
I'll say 42, but I think he has to win out through Arlington for that to happen.
How about a rematch? Percentage chances, Oklahoma and Texas meet again, this time in Arlington. Dean.
This may be too low. I'm going 65%. Definitely toughest games at Kansas and at OSU.
Yeah, and we'll see how Texas fares moving forward, too. So right now I'm saying 40.
Kansas at Oklahoma State Saturday. KU can score. Percentage chances the Cowboys need to score at least 30 points to win that game, John.
Yeah, I lean toward the high side there. I'll say 53.
80%, but they now look capable of getting that done.
Percentage chances Oklahoma State ends up being bowl eligible. Dino.
I'm going to go 55. We just went through the lineup there. I mean, it's not easy, but which OSU team's going to show up? Mike's record says the one that'll get them to the bowl game.
This Saturday will be very critical. I'll say 75 because I have a good feeling about what that offense might be able to do down the stretch.
And for another reason.
We need a winner. Text Dean or text John to 79640.